Hello, Dave here, Creative Guitar Lounge. Wanted to do a little video today on a subject that probably affects a lot of us, and it was inspired really by a Facebook post a young friend of ours put on. He's the son of an old friend of ours, and he's a guitar player, plays in bands, writes music, records music, builds guitars actually. But he had put on a post on Facebook saying, I'm not in a band anymore, and I'm starting to not enjoy playing the guitar because I'm thinking, what is the point? Because I don't really have that outlet anymore for what I'm doing, so it's made me a little bit uninspired. Can any of my musical friends suggest anything that might help me get out of this fug, if you like? So I kind of did a little reply to him. I said, yeah, I mean, this happens to us all, don't be too downhearted, but a couple of things I can suggest. And I thought I'll just do a video about that as well, because I've been in that situation and maybe you have too, so this might help. So my first suggestion was to just take a break for a while. You know, if you're not feeling it, there's nothing worse than trying to force anything creative. I'm sure painters or, you know, any kind of artist or creative person would agree. If it's not happening, you know, it's like you're just having a bit of a block. Don't try and force it. Just walk away, take a break, and just wait until, as I said to him, just wait until your fingers start itching again, because that always happens with me. If I don't play for a while, I get to a stage where I'm just dying to grab a guitar, and that'll happen. So that's one suggestion. My second one was to possibly just learn something new, or remind yourself, go back to something you started learning and quit. Like musical theory, for a lot of people, myself included, is something that you kind of did a little bit of and then left for a long time and then kind of went back to. But it's something that I've kind of gone back to myself recently, and it's been very inspirational. It and the other thing I'm going to suggest next have actually helped me to create, I think, one of the best songs I've done in probably decades. My partner and I write together quite often, but sometimes she'll write a song and I'll just you know, play guitar on it. Other times I'll write the song and she'll sing on it. I'll play bass or maybe keyboards. So that's one thing. My example of that is this song that we're working on at the moment. We've almost finished. We're working on several songs, but this is one that I wrote, and it was inspired initially, well, two things. First thing is a little bit of theory, which I was kind of reminding myself of. And what it was that I had this little riff. And it's C sharp minor 7th chord, arpeggiated. And I was playing along, I was trying to come up with some sort of lead ideas for that. And it reminded me that actually the relative major of that is E major. It's kind of obvious. I mean, a lot of people know that. It's if you play a blues scale, for instance, if you're playing an A blues scale, the relative major of that is F sharp. Exactly the same pattern, but 3 frets up. And I remembered I was actually learning a 3 notes per string E major run, or major run, and I was doing it in E major, and it just occurred to me while I was doing that, that's exactly the same notes as C sharp minor. That's because of it. So a little bit of theory, and so I followed the theory route for that, and actually reminded myself of all the chords that are in that scale, and I kind of got a song out of it. Well, it gave me the bones of a song, certainly the chord sequence, because I took them all from that key, C sharp minor. I took all the chords in the song from that. So that was one thing that I found really inspiring, and I kind of do that sometimes if I get stuck, and I find myself, for me, I just find myself sometimes just playing the same things. If I'm practicing, I'm not practicing anything I knew, I'm just practicing things I already know. So I kind of make myself go out and learn something else. And that can kick off your inspiration if you're in a bit of a fugue, if you like, or a bit of a, what do you call it? You've lost your mojo. Okay, so that's one thing. Two things. The second thing is just equipment for me, and I'm not talking necessarily about a new guitar or a new amplifier or a new pedal board or a new interface or whatever it happens to be. I mean, these things are all great, and I have actually done all those things and found them obviously really inspirational, but it can be really little things. This is one example. This is a partial capo. I've done a video about this, and I'll actually link to a couple of videos I'm going to mention here at the end of this one. But this is a partial capo, and unlike a full capo, it just clamps over 3 strings. Okay, so it's on the A, D and G strings, leaving the bottom E, A, top E and B open as, you know, standard tuning. So when you play that open, that gives you dadgad basically, but in E. That doesn't actually spell as nicely as dadgad. It's Ebe, babe or something, it doesn't matter. But you get the idea. It gives you that same dadgad feel, but up a tone. And that immediately gives you some really nice, just some really nice things playing it open, but also because you haven't actually tuned any of the strings up or down, bar chords are exactly the same. So that's still an A, that's still a B, that's still an E, that's still a C. Yeah, but when you play open, you've got that whole other dimension. And that's, I mean, that's just a little pretty inexpensive device that can just kind of open up a whole new world of playing for you and just reopen the inspiration taps, if you like. So that's one thing. That, as soon as I saw a video on YouTube about that, and I've never heard of these before, I will get one. Got one, wrote a song, and it's a song that is nothing like anything I was working on at the time or since, but it was inspired entirely by that little capo. The other one, and going back to the song I mentioned earlier, is the looper. That's up in the studio, but you know, I'll put a picture of it on here. It's just a little cheap Legato looper, and I got that because my partner and I thought we might do some, just the two of us, not even live in front of an audience, but just for video stuff, but us performing our songs live, and we thought that might be quite useful, just to maybe put a rhythm on and have it playing through while we play over it, or just even a drum beat, or just even just a tambourine. That was the initial idea. But I just thought I've kind of never had a looper, so I'd like to try that anyway. So I got it, and we haven't really done what we intended so far with it, but I found it really good thing for inspiration, because again, the little C sharp minor 7th riff, when I looped that, and I, you know, got used to stopping it exactly right so that it looped perfectly, and then I started playing over it, I got kind of bass line quite quickly. Very simple, and I just did it on the guitar, but I was recording it into Logic at the time, and I added an octaver to it to make it sound a little bit more bassy, and it sounded kind of brilliant. I later went on and just dubbed another bass line on it, but that has become the whole verse of, I think, one of the best songs I've personally written in over 10 years. You know, I think I've written some decent songs, but this is really stand out fantastic, and the inspiration came from that looper thing and a little bit of musical theory that I kind of was, you know, resting somewhere in the back of my mind. So, you know, these things have really helped me, and I hope, you know, if a young friend takes any notice of that, it hopefully helps him get out of that rut. And obviously, if it's something that you've experienced yourself, you know, I would give these things a try. Take a break, come back when you feel like it, when it comes back to you anyway. Learn something new, or relearn a bit of theory that kind of kickstart some ideas that you may not have had otherwise. And then just maybe try something new, like this little partial capo slide. If you've never played slide, buy a little slide, try that. You know, all sorts of things, but they just give you a whole new perspective, if you like, on the instrument. So I hope that's been useful. Do let me know in your comments what you think, and if you like the video, please do it. That really helps. Just that little thumbs up thing takes you seconds. It really helps my channel. that'd be much appreciated. And if you haven't subscribed and you want to see more from me, hit the subscribe thing. And I'll see you next time. Bye for now.